Hello and welcome to Parenting with a Punch show. I am your host, Amanda Houle, founder of parentingwithapunch.com. I have a special guest here today, Andy DeLuca. She is the founder of Elite Workshop, and today we also are being sponsored by Karen Khan, who is the founder and CEO of iFund Women, where I have a current campaign as well as Andy. So I'm really excited to bring her on the show today and learn more about her business and what she's up to in the world. So let's all give a warm welcome to Andy. Hi.
Hey, Amanda.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Great to see you. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
So talk to us about Elite Workshop and what it is, that you do and the work that you put out.
Yeah, well, Elite Workshop is a unique workshop experience for female creative entrepreneurs. I started this platform because I saw there was a great need for creative entrepreneurs, especially females, to have a supportive network of people, a network where they could feed off of each other, they could learn from one another, they could collaborate, they could build friendships and relationships. After spending 15 plus years in the wedding industry and feeling pretty isolated in my own business, I decided that this is where I really need to be. I need to help educate and advocate for other female creatives so they could, get a jump on their dreams and not have to wait for that open invitation. This was a place that they could really shine and be themselves and show up authentically. And also it builds a stage metaphorically for my speakers, because a lot of my speakers have never spoken before on a platform like that. And it positions them as the expert, and it showcases their talents and their skills and allows people to see that. And then they in turn can build connections and collaborations as well.
Yeah, no, I'm somebody that can speak on behalf of I attended your most recent workshop this past, was it April?
It was April 19th. Yep.
And it was, being able, and I'm somebody that will, seek out those women groups and attend in live and meet women that I've never met before. And the energy and being surrounded by all like-minded women and the talks, and especially your talk, it was so inspiring. And I think it's just so amazing, you putting this platform together and being able to share it with so many women entrepreneurs, because, like we were talking about before, especially with our iFund Women campaigns, it can be so difficult to ask people to support. And it almost feels like you're, begging at times. And the truth of the matter is we work so hard to put ourselves out there. And I mean, you're doing it. You're right there in the limelight. And it's just so important for these women.
Yeah, I mean, there's a misconception with entrepreneurs, I feel like, and I've always tried to, I know there are other people out there fighting the good fight. Like, I'm definitely not the only one. There's men and women that are stepping up and are starting to speak up and say, hey, we're balling, we're balls to the wall all the time. Our work is not 9 to 5. We don't clock out. It's a constant do or die situation for us. And if you don't want to live feast or famine when you're an entrepreneur, then you really do need to step it up. And I built my wedding business on networking alone. I mean, when I went from struggling to scaling, and I built in most seasons a 6-figure wedding business. And I really did that because I learned how to network with an intention and ask for support. And like you were saying, asking for monetary support or asking for just emotional support or just work advice, you have to do it. There's no holds bar. You have to do it.
I agree. Yeah. It's, and so when you had the wedding business, right? Yeah. And then you're also an alumni of B School, as am I, which Andy and I had sort of connected that way as well, which was super exciting for me because I love connecting with other fellow B Schoolers. And yes, so talk to us about you just wanted to be able to do something more, different, or as how Elite Workshop got built?
So Elite, the long and short of it is, because I think there's such a trajectory there, but the long and short of it is that I was like I said, a wedding planner and designer, and I still am. Elegance and Grace Weddings is still alive and well. So we are still booking weddings and whatever. But what happened was I was feeling really burnt out. I have 4 children. And I was spending lots of weekends away. I wasn't attracting like my soulmate clients, which back then I didn't even know what a soulmate client was. I was just working, right? I was just working to pay the bills and do what I loved. I mean, I love designing weddings. I love planning them. I was using my skills to build a business, but I was still able to stay home with my kids and raise my family, which is extremely important to me. Right. So it was a natural evolvement for me. I was a makeup artist for many years. I went into the wedding business, which was just such a natural progression. Right. And then after being in the wedding business for so long, I started feeling, like I said, really burnt out. No one was really appreciating me. I felt like I was constantly like, you know, if you ever felt like if you're like pulling a rope and you're like just constantly trying to pull it. Oh my God. It's like, it's a struggle. And I was like, there's gotta be a better way. Like, why am I struggling so hard? And I was making really good money. I wasn't struggling financially. I was struggling emotionally. There was something going on with me like that I wasn't being fulfilled, right? So it was like I had a choice. I could be complacent like I was seeing everyone else do. I could bitch and moan like everyone else was doing about the industry. Right. Or I could be a change maker. And I could say, you know what? Here I am. I'm not really happy right now in this industry, but I'm going to do something to make some changes. So I started being asked to come speak at colleges, and that's how it started, actually. LaSalle College recruited me to come speak at a hospitality event, and 45 students signed up to hear me speak, and 75 showed.
Oh, that's awesome.
I ended up speaking to them, and the feedback I got after I spoke to them from the faculty, from the students, from the people that were there, the other presenters, was just really amazing. And I never looked at myself as inspiring. I never thought my story would even impact anybody. So for the fact that it did, a light bulb went off. And I don't know if anybody listening can relate to this, but like when something happens in your business or your life and you get that jolt of lightning that goes through you, like, this is it. That's what happened. And I just knew that the next phase of my life was going to be educating and inspiring, because that's where I shined. And that's where I felt the most connection to. It wasn't planning a wedding, which again, I do enjoy, but it doesn't light me up like helping other entrepreneurs do. So Elite Workshop was literally born because I wanted a way of connecting to all of these women, but on my own terms, right? And also going into places and speaking, that was great. And I'm honored to be there. But I don't fully have the impact of when I can get them all in one room and I can really share with them what's going on, and they can share too. Sometimes networking is very intimidating for people. They're nervous. They don't want to talk. They don't want to share their challenges, or they feel like no one will get me. Especially women, they get guilty. You know, I feel guilty that I have to ask for help, or I feel guilty that, you know, I'm not doing well in my business. Like, I'm not making a lot of money. Right. And that's tough for people. And that's especially tough for women. So I needed something for them that they could feel safe. So I basically built a platform where it's like a safe zone. It's like no judgment. You come in, and like Amanda, you were there. The energy is really alive and big. And no one's criticizing you. No one cares if you're making $10 in your business or you're making 10 million. We can still learn from each other, even if we're not successful in a monetary way. You know, I can't tell you how many women I am in awe of that don't make a lot of money. I probably make more money than them, but like they're doing other things, or they've got messages out there that I'm just like, holy shit, like you're rocking it, you know? Yeah. So we can learn from each other no matter where we are in our business or our life.
I agree. And something I'm echoing, but it's okay. People are going to have to hear my, they're going to have to hear me twice. You touched upon the whole soulmate client. And I think that is so important, especially for our mamapreneurs and entrepreneurs who want to eventually be moms, right? Or don't, because your business really is your baby. And like, that's so important for so many to know. And I think as business owners, you know, you kind of are just like, you know, sliding in and out and trying to figure out like what works and what doesn't. And when you have that soulmate client and like that clientele that you know is a match for you, that's where you're going to be able to make the most difference. So I think that a lot of entrepreneurs don't understand that part of business in their clientele, depending on obviously their business. But I think for the most part, would you agree that like soulmate clients are, especially to be uber successful and be happy?
So I totally agree with you. And the reason why I agree is because for many years when I was building my wedding business, I thought every client was for me, right? If they signed on the contract line and I was making money, then they were for me. Yeah. And what I learned by experience was that not every client is for you. And truthfully, you don't want to book every client that comes to your way. You want to get into a business pattern where you actually can select who you want to work with. Because what happens is you become in struggle with these people. And if you're not a match for them, and you know what? The one thing I had to learn was it's okay. Like rejection is okay. It's okay if someone says, I don't feel it with you. I don't want to work with you. That's actually a good thing because you don't want to have to struggle with them. You want the experience to be the best it can be. So accept right now that you're not for everybody, right? And that's fine.
Yeah.
So that soulmate client thing came into my business when I wish I learned that years and years and years ago because it would have saved me a lot of heartache. It would have saved me a lot of just feeling like rejection would have felt easier for me knowing that I was striving to work with a certain type of people, that I attracted a certain type of people. So for me, yes. And 100% for other entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs, like you have the ability to actually work with who you want to work with. So use that to your advantage. Like don't just let anyone hire you. Make sure it's a right fit.
Right. Yep. No, I agree. I've been there too, you know, at the beginning of the business, and I've rebranded myself a few times, and like that feeling of, you know, you get excited when you book a client and then it ends up being somebody that, you know, that you're working that much more harder with and they don't even want to put in the work. And it just ends up being a shit show. And then, you know, unfortunately, sometimes too, it ends up being where they don't have a positive experience. So it's like,
exactly.
It's not somewhere that you want to be in a business as an entrepreneur. You want to make your customers happy, right? And part of that is knowing who your ideal clients are and vice versa. It has to be a match just like it would be a significant other or a friendship. Like it's a marriage, right? It's a relationship.
It's a relationship for sure. And you hit that nail on the head when you said, you know, I've learned I don't sell to people anymore. I serve them. Yeah. So if you go into your business thinking you're selling for a sale,
right,
that's a problem. You need to start reframing it and you're serving them. So the experience has to be what it is. It has to be top notch. That's why at my workshops, it's all about the experience I give. It's like if I was to open my front door and welcome these women into my home, would I treat them any different than if I treat them at that venue? Absolutely not. It's the experience, 100%.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's so, so true. So also too, for our mama entrepreneurs out there, I mean, as you stated a few times, being able to balance, you know, the two, and you were a stay-at-home mom, but you mentioned too prior that there were weekends that you weren't home. So, I mean, what would be your, you know, your number one advice for any of those, you know, mama entrepreneurs that are sort of in that like limbo of making that decision or sort of like beating themselves up?
Well, I mean, first and foremost is don't beat yourself up.
Easier said than done, but we know, yes.
Right, because your kids will do that for you anyway. No, listen, I don't believe in balance. I believe there's no such thing. I believe in priorities, and I believe in making time for your family is so important, right? Because you're raising a family, you want to be present. But your kids need to see that you have a life outside them. When I can see it already now with my kids, like my daughter got to attend my latest workshop. It impacted her in such a different way to see her mother actually do it. Like she hears me, she knows what I do on the surface, but to see it live in color for her was really amazing. And it made her look at me a little bit different as well. And I think that let your kids in. I mean, even when I was building my wedding business and I knew that I was going to be away, I helped, like they would help me, pack the swag bags, and I would make them feel a part of my business. So it was a family thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier said than done to say don't feel guilty, because for many years I felt really guilty. But the thing is, you do have to have a life outside of your kids, because like I said, I have 4 kids. Every day is about them. I mean, my whole life is wrapped around them, no matter what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So my priority is them. But it's nice that I have this like other side of me, because that keeps me happy. And I think your kids need to see that you're happy. Yes. And they'll know when you're not. So if you're debating, like, if you have a sidekick, or you have some sort of side hustle that you're like, you really want to step into, but you're afraid of losing time with your kids, my advice is step into it, but just prioritize how much you can actually do. Right. And don't set your sights too high. Like if you have young babies, like when my kids were super young, I couldn't do as much as I do now with them in school. Right. So I knew going into it, I had to learn that I had to work with my time, and I had to figure out what worked for my family and what worked for my business. And I think we all have to kind of do that, whether you have kids or you don't have kids. Yeah,
no, I agree. It's trying to figure out, what in that moment can be prioritized, or, what can't, for sure.
Well, I don't really believe in balance, although it is like a dance, is what I say. Like, yes, you're trying to make it work and feel really natural. Right. But even if, like, for me, like, something always falls to the wayside, and I hate to say it, but it does. Like, you can't balance everything, right? You can't be A game at work, A game as a mom, A game as a wife. You just can't do that. It's not possible. So accept the pieces that you can't thrive in right now, and just work on what you can thrive in. Even if it's like, when I used to teach a wedding school, at a wedding and event school, one of the things I would say to my students is, take one actionable step you can do a day. You can do one thing. You have enough time to do one thing. I don't care if you're a mom, if you're working 3 jobs, one thing. It could be pick up a phone, call a vendor, make a connection. It could be call a friend, ask some questions. Mm-hmm. You can do one actionable step. So if you just continue to do those actionable steps, eventually you'll have a business.
Yep. No, it's so very true. And I think, I had to learn that. It took me a little while. We don't give ourselves enough credit, and like the smallest accomplishments, celebrate. Doesn't mean that you have to go out and spend money. Celebrate. Do a happy dance. I'm big on call a friend and get excited. It's so true. That one actionable step on a daily basis is so, so important.
Absolutely.
So share with us, you have a workshop coming up. Can you give us details on that, please?
Yeah, so the next workshop is September 13th. It's at Lake Pearl, which is absolutely gorgeous, in Wrentham, Mass. I'm really excited about this workshop because I really feel like this one is the topic, the overall theme of this one is be extraordinary. And I've been leaning up to this one. So we've, had our other ones. We've had, so far we've got 6 under our belt. So this will be our 7th. This is our 2nd year. So we've done a lot in 2 years. And I feel like this is our last workshop of the year. We won't go back now until January will be the next one. Yeah. So I feel like this one is the big shebang. Like, this is the big one. We're going to go out in style. It's going to be great. I can't give all the secrets away, but I've got some phenomenal educators already lined up. I've got some great, swag and sponsors that are already lined up. So I'm excited about what this one really has to offer. But the vision for this workshop really is about, what is your extraordinary? Like, who are you at your core, and how can you make that come out and be extraordinary? And it can be in the littlest things. Like, if it's a mom, well, how can you be an extraordinary mom? If it's a business, how can you be extraordinary in your business? It's really, like Amanda said, it's celebrating those little wins. And at my workshop, that's what it is. It's more of an indulgence. It's like I spoil my attendees because I want them to feel truly loved and appreciated, because I appreciate you. And not everybody talks about what you do. Not everyone shows you how amazing you are on a daily basis. Not everyone fills you up like a gas tank when it's empty, and we can all feel pretty empty at times. Yes. I kind of like recharge you. I fill you up. And At this workshop, I just want you to be like overflowing, because you're going to go into the rest of the year with your killer goals and your extraordinary mindset, and you're going to make it happen till January.
No, I agree. That's definitely the ambience of your events. I mean, I can attest to that, because being able to give yourself, you know, filling up your cup is so important as an entrepreneur. And it's real. Like, it does fill you up. You meet new people, and to be able to just like believe in yourself once again, you know, who knows? You could have had a shitty morning that morning, or you're feeling defeated. And, you know, like you said, hosting these events, I think, is so important. So it's amazing.
It's not only important for the attendees, but selfishly, you know, it's important for me.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really, you know, it really takes me to another place, you know, when I'm in that element, and you're surrounded by such an amazing group of women that truly want you to do well, and really like want to just fill you up with all sorts of love and encouragement and support. There's nothing that feels better about anything.
I couldn't agree more. It's so true. Having that support system can take you so far. It can get you over that hump a lot of times.
It can. I mean, for many years, I didn't like women. Like, full disclosure, I hung out with all guys. I had 2 brothers growing up. I was never really a girlfriend. I was more like hang out at the basketball, you know, court, shoot some hoops with the guys. Like, I was like swear like a truck driver. Like, I was one of those. And until I got into this business, until I started to see how powerful women were, and that we don't have to be jealous, that we don't have to try to one up each other. Like, there's room for everybody. There's room for so much talent. There's room for so much beauty. Like, we don't need to try to be something we're not. We can just show up authentically and still really make an impact. I think that's powerful stuff.
I agree. It is super powerful. Now, how can people find your Facebook page, or for Elite Workshop?
So we do have an Elite Workshop page on Facebook. That's the business page. They can also check out andydelucia.com, which is the website. And they can find Elite Workshop there, and they can register for tickets if they want. There'll be a link there as well. We have an Instagram, so we can drop a handle later, or you can put it in the show notes or whatever it is.
Yes.
But so that's the basic ways.
Awesome. I'm trying to get your website shown here, but let's spell it for our guests.
It's Andy, so Andy, Delucia, DELUCIA.com.
Awesome. Thank you. I know every time I go to show the website, it doesn't work. Technology. I love it. One of these days we'll have
look what we dealt with in the very beginning.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was so much fun chatting with you today, and I look forward to hearing more, and hopefully attending your workshop in September and collaborating further. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks so much, Amanda.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Parenting with a Punch show with my fabulous guest, Andy, today. And remember, keep asking for more. You deserve it. Your family deserves it. Visit my website, parentingwithapunch.com, to learn about my new support service with new expecting parents. And don't forget to contribute to my campaign as well. And Andy's campaign is also live. You can type in Elite Workshop on the iFund Women's website. Have a great day, y'all, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.